We have so much to cover in this update sneak peek. Now that I have had a chance to be able to look through the entire Brawl Pass and calculate all the differences between before and after the update, I can tell you specifically how much of a progression buff free-to-play players are getting, as well as spending players. I'm going to show you all of the new balance changes. We got all of the new skins, their animations, their costs, and everything to include as well. I mean, look at that skin, am I right? We also have the new 5v5 modes and a whole lot more. Let's kick things off with the new Hypercharges. And who better to kick them off with than Fang? Fang's new Hypercharge is Dragon Kick. Now, just like every other Hypercharge in the game, he gets buffs to his speed, his damage, and his shield while his Hypercharge is active. But on top of that, this allows his super to travel through walls, and he drops up to 4 pieces of popcorn along the way. Now, each piece of popcorn essentially works like a mine from Tick. They'll explode after a few seconds so that people can walk there safely, but if an enemy gets too close, they will explode on impact, dealing 2,800 damage. Now, this isn't game-breaking damage, it's not crazy good area control, but that extra 2,800 damage after you've just super kicked onto somebody might be the difference between getting a kill and getting killed yourself more times than you might actually think. So this is actually a pretty good Hypercharge for a fun brawler. Dynamites Hypercharge is Boomer. He becomes an old person again. I'm just kidding. When Dynamites Hypercharge is active, any super that he throws out will also blow up into 8 sticks of dynamite in a circle around it. Each stick has the potential to deal 1,716 damage, and while it is unlikely that all 8 of them will hit an enemy, I think there's a pretty good chance that at least one will hit somebody, because they're likely going to be running away from Dynamite's super either way, and that's exactly where the blast radius is of these. So it's likely to deal a little bit of damage to enemies, unlikely to deal damage twice, but that is possible. Edgar's Hypercharge is Outburst. After using his super during a Hypercharge, Edgar's supercharge and reload speed greatly increases. Now, the timing of this is kind of weird, okay? If Edgar activates his super at the beginning of his Hypercharge and doesn't hit anybody, the buff lasts for 5 seconds. But if he's actively hitting an enemy, the duration can be increased to 8 seconds. And if you actually activate it right before the end of his Hypercharge is over, then the duration can get cut down to less than 5 seconds. So it really seems to be somewhat associated with his Hypercharge and whether or not it's charging or whatever. I don't know. It's kind of weird. You don't need to worry about the specifics. Most of the time, you're going to be activating the super right after his Hypercharge. So you're going to get pretty good value out of this either way. And honestly, this is just a good Hypercharge for Edgar. You're just going to spam stuff, you know. There's not a whole lot of thinking when you're playing Edgar. Anyway, sorry, I just offended you. One thing you might be surprised to see is that Edgar's Hypercharge does automatically charge over time, just like his super does, and it will charge even faster when he uses his Let's Fly gadget, though you'll need 2 or 3 gadgets in order to fully activate it, which I don't recommend doing. Crow's Hypercharge is Utility Knives. This gives the knives from his super 2 new abilities. First of all, they will pierce through targets, and second, they will return back to Crow wherever he lands. And as you can see right here, this can result in absolutely insane amounts of damage depending on where you jump to and from with his super. Like, it's insane. Now, you should note that the daggers will not pass through walls. In fact, if they hit a wall, then they will just break and they will not return. So it's typically best to use this standing away from some walls. Otherwise, some of the daggers will get destroyed. But either way, though, this is a very good Hypercharge. And if you like to play Crow, honestly, this is definitely worth saving coins for, in my opinion. Leon's also getting a very good Hypercharge called Limbo. This makes it so that Leon will stay invisible for the duration of a Hypercharge super, even if he attacks enemies. Now, this is a very simple but very effective Hypercharge for Leon. The fact that he gets a damage buff and a speed buff and a shield buff while Hypercharge makes this very strong for him, because he can just be invisible and just run away, and people aren't going to be able to see where he's at, even if he's attacking. Keep in mind, though, that Leon's Hypercharge must be active in order for this to work. If you activate his super right before the Hypercharge runs out, you will become visible when you attack, even if the super still has a few seconds left remaining of it. So it's not like Spike's or Dynamite's Hypercharge supers that will work even if they're activated the last second before they're completely finished. Mortis is getting a new mythic gear called Bat Storm. This increases the speed of his bats from his super by 50%. So it will be easier to hit enemies with his super from a distance. And you can see from this side by side that this is, it's an improvement. It's a small improvement. It will help sometimes, for sure it will. but I don't imagine that it's going to be worth the cost of the 2,000 coins that it costs to purchase this gear. Then we get to talk about balance changes, and then we'll cover everything new that's coming in this update, except for new brawlers, which you're gonna have to subscribe for future sneak peeks for. Dynamite's Dynajump star power is getting a buff. It is now possible for you to double jump. Now, I'm not actually 100% sure what they tweaked here, but I think they decreased the amount of time that Dynamite is in the air so that you can effectively double jump. It still takes a lot of skill. I'm not the best at doing it every single time. It requires good timing, but it is now possible. Colt is getting an 18% buff to his reload speed. As you can see here, that means he's going to be firing way more frequently, and this is a big buff. Honestly, I could see this being the buff that he needs to be competitive. Next, we have Amber, who's getting a 10% buff to her attack damage. At max level, it's going from 400 damage per tick to 440 damage per tick. That's 4,400 damage per second, which is going to help her melt through enemies even faster than she could before. Bo is getting an absolutely massive damage buff by 17%. Each arrow's damage is increasing from 1,200 damage to 1,400 damage at max level. This means he's going to be able to take out 12 brawlers with one less ammo, which might not sound like a lot, but with one less arrow, he's going to be able to take out 52 of the 73 brawlers in the game. And there's quite a few brawlers like Shelly and Sandy who he's now going to be able to take out with only 2 ammo. Ash is getting a 4% buff to his health. At max level, his HP is increasing to 10,800. Now, this is not a huge buff to Ash, but it is enough that he'll be able to survive 1 additional ammo from 10 brawlers in the game. Gus is getting a 6% buff to his attack damage. At max level, it's increasing to 2,000 damage. And this is a pretty good buff that will allow Gus to take out 32 of the 73 brawlers in the game with 1 less ammo. On top of that, it's going to have an especially significant effect on brawlers that have 5,600 HP to 6,000 HP, because now he will be able to 3-shot them. This includes brawlers like Sprout, Mandy, Max, and quite a few others. Chester is getting a 6% buff to his health. At max level, he's going to have 7,400 HP. This is going to allow Chester to survive 1 additional ammo from 8 brawlers. I don't think this is a hugely significant buff, but it will justify playing him a little bit more than before. Janet is getting 2 buffs. First is a 4% attack damage buff. This is going to help her take out 9 brawlers with 1 less ammo, which is a pretty small buff, but her supercharge is also getting buffed so that instead of requiring 7 hits for her to charge her super, she's going to be able to charge her super in only 6 hits. Together, these buffs might make her a little bit more viable. Next, we have Pearl, who's getting a 7% movement speed buff. Now, before this change, her movement speed was slightly slower than normal, but slightly faster than slow. She is now going to have the normal movement speed like most of the brawlers in the game. Now, this might not sound like a massive change, but we've seen with Shelly that even a small speed buff can be enough to make a brawler very viable, so we'll see how this impacts her. Surge is getting a 7% buff to his health. At max level, he's going to have 6,000 HP, and this means that he'll be able to survive an additional ammo from 13 of the brawlers in the game. It's a decent buff, and it might be what he needs to survive a little bit more. Charlie is getting 4 nerfs. First of all, the cooldown between her attacks is doubling from 250 milliseconds to 500 milliseconds. This means that you'll have to wait twice as long to attack after her yo-yo is returned to her. Now, the second nerf is to the duration of her super. It used to last up to 7 seconds, but now enemies that are trapped in the cocoon will only have to stay in it for 5 seconds max, and obviously the duration is even shorter if their teammates are able to deal some damage to the cocoon. Now, the next nerf is to her supercharge rate. The number of hits required for her to charge her super is increasing from 5 hits to 6 hits, meaning that she'll have her super 20% less frequently, which is pretty massive. And finally, we have a 36% nerf to the spiders from her gadget. Their total health is decreasing from 1,100 HP down to 700 HP. Now, this means it's going to be easier for opponents to get rid of them, obviously, but also they won't last as long while chasing enemies down, because how long they're on the map depends on how much health they have. Now, I don't know if these 4 nerfs together are going to be enough to make Charlie feel balanced, but she'll definitely be less strong than she was before these changes. Lou is getting a nerf to his supercharge rate. He will now charge his super 16% slower from his regular attacks. This should do a good job at toning down how frequently his super and his hypercharge charges as well. Next is Spike getting a nerf to his sticky spikes gear. The additional slow is decreasing from 50% down to only 30% more slow. I think this is still going to be a very strong gear on Spike, but hopefully it'll feel a little bit more balanced now, because you could never escape them before. Rosa is getting a 7% nerf to her HP. HP. At max level, her health is decreasing to 10,000 HP, and this means she'll be taken out by 19 brawlers with 1 less ammo than before. I imagine this is in response to her hypercharge making her very strong, and this will kind of tone her down a little bit now that her shields do stack, right? Buster's getting a nerf to his slow-mo replay. The slow that initially worked with this gadget is being removed from it, so enemies will still be pulled closer to Buster, and this is going to be pretty strong still, although they might reconsider naming it something other than slow-mo. Finally, we have Nani, who's getting an 8% nerf to her HP. At max level, she's going to have 4,800 HP, and 13 of the 73 brawlers will now be able to take Nani out with 1 less ammo, and other Nanis will actually be able to one-shot her, which will make her quite a bit squishier. 5v5 modes are coming, and I am so hyped. You will be able to play friendly modes with these, and even only playing against bots, I can tell you this is going to be so much fun. The maps are much bigger than the typical 3v3 maps, and it actually kind of looks like a mini showdown map surrounded by water. However, there are indestructible walls surrounding it, and it's impossible to jump over them with walls. Now, at the time of recording this, there is a bug with Eve, and she can just walk through the walls, which is pretty funny, but that's probably going to be patched before the update lands. Now, the 5v5 modes are mostly the same as their 3v3 versions, but with a few changes. Wipeout will require 20 kills in order for the match to end early. Gem grab maps will actually have 2 gem spawns, so you'll have to balance your team between like 2v2s, 3v3s, 3v2s, 1v4s, whatever you need to do to try and get those gems. However, there is actually one map with a single gem spawn in the center, which is essentially a death zone. Now in Brawl Ball, the match is played from side to side, kind of like a really large basketball map, and the goals are way larger than normal, but it's going to be tricky to score because there are 5 defenders, which can get pretty crazy. Now, in this next update, Brawl Stars is going to be experimenting with in-game optional ads, where you can watch an ad if you want to get specific rewards, but these are not going to be available everywhere. They're just going to be in certain regions. They're going to experiment about the potential monetization in ways that ideally won't disrupt the typical gameplay experience. Now, the question is, what are these perks going to be? They're pretty much Brawl Pass rewards. You see over on the left where it says see perks right here, you're gonna have options for extra daily shop freebies, double daily battle XP, extra daily quests, maybe even premium seasonal quests. Keep in mind that people with an active Brawl Pass will already get these benefits automatically, right? And so they will not be served ads. And depending on how well the optional ads perform, they may roll this out to additional regions. We'll have to see. I'm actually curious to know what you guys think about this. They did this once before when Brawl Stars was way back in early beta, and they got rid of it because it was distracting, but these ads are in places that aren't distracting, so. Win streaks will give you more ways to earn more trophies for every match. The win streak begins at 2 wins and will give you 1 additional trophy for each additional win, up to a cap of 5 additional trophies for each win, if you're able to get 6 straight wins in a row. Win streaks are only broken when you lose a match, so getting a draw will not break your streak. 4th is considered a draw in solo showdown. 3rd is considered a draw in duo showdown, and anything better than that will count as a win. Now let's talk about the new Brawl Pass system. Now, some of this information is going to be a refresher for anybody that's been keeping up with the Brawl Stars news, but there's also a lot of new information. So stay tuned, even if you do know a lot of this stuff, and also, you're not gonna wanna miss the skin animations and their cost, because the skins of this update, let me tell you. The Brawl Passes, including the free version and the paid version, are getting some big changes. Now, the season duration of the Brawl Pass is going to be reduced from a 2-month season to a 1-month season. Now, instead of 70 tiers, there are now 50 tiers of rewards every month, and I'm just scrolling through them really slowly right here for you. Now, the bonus rewards at the very end are being replaced with a random star drop. You'll notice that pretty much every tier is different than it was before. You're still gonna get big fat stacks of coins and power points and credits on the free side of the pass, and you'll also get 50 total free gems every month, which is actually an 11% buff to how many free gems you actually get. Now, on top of these changes, you're also going to get some random star drops to some of the rewards, and at tier 50, which I'll get there in a second, everyone is guaranteed a legendary star drop for free. And since legendary star drops actually got buffed in November, you'll be more likely to get star powers or hypercharges, which could save you massive amounts of coins. Now, you'll notice at the very top right here that battle tokens are now going to be called Battle XP, and Battle XP works exactly like regular tokens did before. However, you'll notice that the Battle XP required to get from one tier to the next is actually much higher than in the previous Brawl Pass seasons. Don't worry though, this is not a nerf. And that's because the amount of XP that you're actually going to get every single day increases. every day you will get 2 of these season quests, each worth 500 battle XP. So that's 1000 XP from season quests every single day that you can complete throughout the entire season. Now 950 tokens for each tier, as well as 1600 battle XP, or not tokens, yeah, battle XP for the bonus rewards. That's probably not gonna make a whole lot of sense because we're kind of comparing apples to oranges. It cost less to progress in the last season, but you also got fewer tokens, whereas in the new season, you get way more tokens, but it costs more to progress, right, throughout the pass. So let me put it in a way that makes some sense, okay? Because I did do all the math for you guys. That's just, this was a lot of math. Now, if you want to complete the entire Brawl Pass season within that month, you have to actively play 17 days throughout the season. And now, the actual number might be a little bit less because of XP doublers, known as token doublers, but there's actually more progression for you to get as a free-to-play player throughout this whole season, even though it's just once a month. Now I say only compared to a month. We're actually going to compare it to a 2-month-long season. So 2 of the new seasons versus 1 of the old season. But one thing I like about this is that there's going to be less time when you're at the end of the season just collecting bonus rewards. It's going to be a lot less stale, and I'm really looking forward to that. The really good news here is that free-to-play progression is actually getting buffed with these changes. Now the math is complex because there's a lot of new progression coming from star drops, and the value of star drops actually got changed in November. So I had to open up 500 star drops on the developer build and track each and every single one of them so I could give you a confident estimate on the value of the new star drops, which, I mean, it's not that different from what they were before. Basically, the legendary star drops got buffed and the other ones got slightly nerfed. Oh, what's this? Oh, Ladybug Bee, sweet. Now on top of that, we're actually comparing a monthly season to a bi-monthly season. The amount of XP that you get every day is different, as well as the cost to get from each tier is different. Also, I had to consider the fact that a completely free-to-play player would be able to save all their gems and purchase every other Brawl Pass in the previous system. That's also different in the new system, so I don't know. There's a lot of different factors to involve. Don't worry, I'm not going to run through the actual math with you guys, but I did take all these into consideration while running my calculations, so you can trust these numbers that I'm about to give you. For complete free-to-play players who spend all of their gems to buy every other Brawl Pass season, you will be seeing a 13% buff to coins, a 4.3% buff to power points, and 2 legendary star drops that are now better than they were before. On top of that, the number of gems that you will be able to have for free to be able to spend on whatever you want is increasing greatly, because before you had to save them for every single Brawl Pass. Afterwards, that's not even an option. So you get to save them for whatever you want, whether that's more progression on special offers or even like a legendary skin, which we'll talk about the fact that you can no longer spend your gems on the Brawl Pass season a little bit later on. But they increase the number of free gems that you actually get within the free side of the Brawl Pass to 50 every month, which is 100 gems every 2 months, which is actually 10 more gems than you would have gotten in the previous 60-day season. Now, I've always promised you guys that I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I'm not trying to persuade anybody that this update is good, bad, or whatever. I'm just trying to tell you guys the actual numbers here. So I want to be very clear that when I say that free-to-play players are getting a 13.2% buff to coins, that estimate does include the coins that you would save if you got a gadget or a star power or a hypercharge from a star drop. So yes, that value is inflated. But even if you only include the raw coins that you would have gotten from those star drops, it is still a 4.2% buff to coins for free-to-play players. So if all you care about is progression, then this is indeed a buff to your progression, no matter how you look at it. If you really care about cosmetics, then I should mention that because you can no longer buy every other Brawl Pass season, you won't get any bling because the bling's only on the paid side of the Brawl Pass. So free-to-play players will be getting fewer cosmetics. Now, personally, I'm very happy with trading cosmetics for actual coins and power points that will help progress my account, but I wanted to at least put that out there for you guys so you know. Now, a big question is, what about credits? And when it comes to credits, we are actually getting a big buff to the number of credits that we're getting each season. However, that's not 100% fair because we're no longer getting chroma credits. And when you factor in the chroma credit conversion, which I'll talk more about later on, as well as the number of brawlers that you will get from some of these star drops over, like, you know, a long period of time on your account, like a year. Is it a buff to credits? Is it a nerf to credits? Are we going to be unlocking brawlers faster, slower? Let me provide a little bit of context to try and explain whether this is better or worse with the new system. And I'm a little less confident in giving you an exact percentage because different players will unlock different rarities of brawlers with their star drops. It may be a buff to some really lucky players. It may be a nerf to some unlucky players. Now, by my estimates, it's actually a 7% buff to new brawler unlocking progression. That's not also 100% fair though, because some of the chromatic brawlers will be mythic or legendary and they will cost more credits, but it is close enough that I actually feel good about it. In fact, I feel better about it now that I actually am able to look at all the numbers than back a month ago when I didn't have the exact calculations. I'm not too worried about how fast you'll unlock brawlers though. What I'm mostly concerned about is coins, and coins got a buff, so I'm happy with it. But let's talk about the paid Brawl Pass. I mentioned earlier that you will no longer be able to buy the Brawl Pass with gems. You will only be able to purchase it with an in-app purchase. These values right here aren't showing up for you, but I'll go over the exact cost, at least in US dollars. And yes, because they are in-app purchases, they do provide more value than they did before. Here's kind of a comparison of the Brawl Pass and the Brawl Pass Plus. The regular Brawl Pass will cost $6.99 and will last for 1 month. Now, because the old pass lasted for 2 months, we're going to compare the costs and rewards for 2 months of the new season compared to 2 months of the last season. You get the idea. Now, the cost is a 40% increase compared to the previous Brawl Passes. However, it comes with 66% more coins, 36% more power points. You'll get 2 times the icons, sprays, and skin cosmetics, and the amount of free bling before versus after is exactly the same. Now, you will actually get 1 additional pin for 2 of the new seasons compared to the previous season, but the pins are now player pins, so you can use them with any brawler. And as you can see right here with the Brawl Pass, you do get 50 gems. That is on top of the 50 free gems that you get from the free side of the pass, and you can spend those gems however you want. Now, you also get over double the amount of free credits with the new Brawl Pass. However, there's no longer a seasoned brawler who is associated with each Brawl Pass, but I do think that the additional 1,160 credits every month more than makes up for it though, since that's more than enough to get even an extra mythic brawler every 2 months. Now, you also get some special perks, including an exclusive chromatic name, an extra daily shop freebie, and extra battle XP in the form of daily battle XP. You'll get extra quests and additional premium quests as well. Now, for anyone wondering about my actual percentages when it comes to like how much more coins and stuff that you get, I actually included the extra battle XP in my coin and PowerPoint calculations. So that's including somebody who is actively getting all their resources every day and is collecting as many bonus rewards as possible. For anyone who doesn't actively play every day, the Brawl Pass is a massive help though. By my calculations, the new Brawl Pass is absolutely worth spending money on. It may cost 40% more comparatively, but it provides way more than 40% more value, especially when you consider the additional gems that you would get. Honestly, just the 66% increased coins is definitely worth it, because that's 66% more coins than if you purchase the Brawl Pass before this change. Like, that's a lot of coins. But there's even more value to be had if you get the Brawl Pass Plus. The Brawl Pass Plus costs $9.99 and lasts for 1 month. This is US dollars. This is essentially comes down to being twice as expensive as the previous Brawl Pass, because it was $9.99 for 2 months, and now it's $9.99 every month, right? But if you bought every Brawl Pass before and you could afford to buy every Brawl Pass now, my estimates value this is slightly better than buying the Brawl Pass before. The Brawl Pass Plus comes with 96% more coins, 79% more power points, 2 skin variations of the Brawl Pass skin, an exclusive title, and even more free gems. You will get 100 gems every Brawl Pass Plus that you purchase, and that is on top of the 50 gems that you will get on the free side of the Brawl Pass. You'll also get all of the Brawl Pass Plus perks, including the extra daily shop freebie and bonus battles and quests and stuff like that. And there's one other perk that I wanted to talk about. There is an instant 20% of progression added to the Brawl Pass for you. Now, I don't know how this 20% works out. It may be 20% of the tiers, which would be 10 free tiers. It may be 20% of all of the battle tokens or the XP that would have been required for you to reach the very end of the Brawl Pass and given it to you right there. And if it's that second option, then there's no way to abuse this. But if it's the first option and it just gives you 10 tiers just flat out, you can't abuse this. And the reason why is because the initial 10 tiers are way less expensive than the later ones. Look, 50 right here, 200 right here, and it's 200 all the way up to tier 9, where it becomes 350 to get to tier 10, and then it is 950 for the entire rest of the season, all the way up to the very, very end. So if purchasing the Brawl Pass Plus gives you just 10 tiers of rewards, no matter what, then get to tier 10 and then activate it, and you'll get way more progression. And when I say more progression, I mean it's actually a lot. If you buy it right at the very beginning, you're getting 2,000 tokens worth, or XP worth of progression, which is the equivalent of not even 1.5 of these bonus reward star drops. But if you do it after reaching tier 10, that is 9,000 500 battle XP. That translates into 6 bonus rewards, which is better than only 1, right? Keep in mind, this might work, this might not. I don't know. It's just something to keep in mind for once the update actually drops. Get to tier 10 before actually doing it and see what happens. If it gives you 10 tiers, you just got some more free rewards. And I'm pretty sure you can just activate the regular Brawl Pass, and then unlock these pass perks while you get to tier 10 and then get the Brawl Pass Plus. I don't know that for sure. Maybe don't, quote me on it. Either way, the new Brawl Passes actually provide a lot more value than previous Brawl Passes. And if you plan on purchasing either, I'd appreciate you going to the shop and putting in code KAIROS. Oh, well, it works in the real one. It doesn't work in the dev build. And I would really appreciate that. Now, with the Brawl Pass changing to a monthly season, they are making it so that credits can no longer be stacked and saved on previous Brawl Pass seasons. Once the season ends, all unclaimed credits will be automatically claimed and go towards your current brawler that you're unlocking or fame. However, it's not as bad as it sounds, not just yet. If there is a new brawler being released along with the new season, all of those unclaimed credits will actually go towards that new brawler that's being released. So while you can't save credits in previous seasons like you used to be able to, you can use them towards the next brawler, which is good. I know, I also like stacking up all of my rewards and saving them, but I don't know. It's just the change. I just wanted to tell you. Now let's quickly talk about the chromatic rarity being removed from the game. Once the update lands, all chroma credits on your account are going to be converted into regular credits. So 1 chroma credit will give you 1.85 regular credits. And it's going to pop up just like that. That's actually pretty cool looking. This means that the cost to buy a chromatic brawler for 500 chroma credits will actually be the exact same as buying an epic brawler after the conversion. Now the following chromatic brawlers will be converted to epic brawlers: Gale, Colette, Ash, Lola, Sam, Mandy, Maisie, and Pearl. Now the following chromatic brawlers will become mythic brawlers: Lou, Ruffs, Buzz, Fang, Eve, Janet, Otis, Buster, RT, and Charlie, but Charlie actually won't show up on the Star Road until January 11th. Finally, we have Cordelius and Surge, who will be legendary brawlers, and I highly recommend spending your chroma credits on legendaries and mythic brawlers before the update drops. There are a few other random things I need to cover, and then I will show you all of the new skins, costs, and animations. You can now report player names. You just tap on the name to confirm an appropriate name, club names, or even club descriptions if you much more easily than you used to be able to do so. Also, now you can share your replays into your club, and there have been some changes that have been made to the trophy road rewards. Most of them are under 10,000 trophies, but you will now have a legendary star drop at 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, and 50,000 trophies. And there will also be a mythic star drop at 15,000, 25,000, 35,000, and 45,000 total trophies. Also, this is a really cool new feature. You can now sort your brawlers by mastery. Now keep in mind with these new skins that I won't actually be able to show you the skins for any of the 3 new brawlers, so you're going to want to make sure you subscribe for more sneak peeks so you do not miss them. Now let's show you these awesome skins. First up, we got Santa Stew. This is going to be a 149 gem skin and will be released sometime mid-December. I kind of like how he just chuckles like a jolly Santa would, right? Now he shoots Christmas presents to people when he attacks, and his super leaves a trail of snow behind him. This is his losing animation, and this is his winning animation. Pinku Paulette is the Brawl Pass season skin starting January 4th, so she will be exclusive to people who purchase the Brawl Pass for at least 1 full year. Now we have Keto Paulette and Midori Paulette, which are color variations that you can get only by purchasing the Brawl Pass Plus. This skin is styled after Japanese anime, and she's a waitress at a bubble tea shop. Now her attacks shoot out teacups at her enemies, and this is what her super looks like. When she loses, the flying notepad draws a face on her, and this is what her winning animation looks like. Very kawaii if you ask me. Next we have Toon Spike, and this is going to be a 299 gem skin. Likely it'll be released on January 4th when the Star Toon Studios season starts, and Spike has become a 2D version of himself with adorable eyes. Now when rotating Spike, he actually stays flat, but you still get to see different angles of him, which is actually really unique. And the gameplay is also super unique as Spike kind of like walks around. Now he throws cartoon-like cacti at enemies that each have cartoon-like sound effects to them. Now, he even comes with a unique set of legendary pins and sprays, and this is what his super looks like. It's got this animated drilling effect to it. It's really cool. And honestly, it's awesome to see how well the 2D artwork looks in a 3D game. Now, surprisingly, his Hypercharge super and his attacks look and sound like normal, at least for right now. I don't know if they'll get changed or not. Now, his losing animation isn't completed as of right now, but it will be by the time he's released, and this is his winning animation. Next, we have Final Boss Rico. This is a Power League skin, so you'll need to get 50 wins and then buy him with 149 gems or 5,000 bling. He'll be released on January 4th, and this skin is really interesting. It has a unique cell shade effect from cartoons in the 40s. I don't know exactly what that means, but I like how this skin looks. Now, for his attacks, he shoots these cool flaming projectiles, and his super is even larger, more flamey projectiles that look really, really cool. Now, when he loses, the flames burst out of him and he ends up falling onto the ground, and this is what it looks like when he wins. Next is Antivirus 8-Bit. This will be a 299 gem skin and will be released on February 1st with the new season. Now, from what I could tell, this skin looks just like Virus 8-Bit with a slightly different color. There's also a cool new kill animation now for both Virus 8-Bit and Antivirus 8-Bit. Next is Ferocious Fang, and this is a 149 gem skin that will also be released with the February 1st season. Ferocious Fang is just like Furious Fang, except that everybody can actually purchase him. He's not exclusive, which is pretty awesome. Then we have Dark Angel Colt. This is going to be a 149 gem skin, but it will be free for everybody as part of the Brawl-A-Days. This was made by Dodie, Angelo, and Cat Poke, and will be released in late December. Now, this skin is super cool. I love the whole like glowing dark thing around him, and it's very ominous. For his attack, he fires these really cool dark feathery attacks, and his super looks even cooler. Now, this is what his losing animation looks like, but it's his winning animation that looks really cool. Next is CCTV Poco. This is a 149 gem skin and will be released sometime in the middle of January. Now, this is the first skin showing a brawler before they were transformed into a brawler. The attacks look like lines of sheet music, and for anyone who's familiar with sheet music, you'll actually recognize that his attacks show the bass clef, and his super shows the treble clef, which looks really cool. He looks very sad with his losing animation, and this is what his winning animation looks like. Next is El Quarterback. This is a 199 gem skin and will be released in early February. Now, El Primo has put on a bunch of protective American football gear and he is ready to play. This skin comes with an exclusive spray and pin, as do the mythic skins, and his punches are actually open-fisted, which is required in American football. Now, his super actually looks really cool because it spawns an American football field underneath him and he lands with a touchdown. Now, this is his losing animation, and this is his winning animation. Next, we have Flag Bearer Piper. This is a 149 gem skin that will be released in the middle of February. Piper has adorned herself with traditional Brazilian carnival feathers and has replaced her umbrella with a flag. Her attack fires these colorful birds at enemies that kind of go rainbow as they fire, which is really cool. And she drops some drums on her enemies with her super. Now, this is her losing animation, and this is her winning animation. Next, we have Doll Jessie. This is a 29 gem skin that will be released in the middle of February for Valentine's Day. As a 29 gem skin, this doesn't come with any specific effects, but it is still downright adorable and very much worth the bling in my opinion. Next is W Otis. This is a 149 gem skin that will be released in the middle of December. This is in celebration of Zeta Division winning the World Championship, and Otis is chilling with a trophy in his hand. Now, I don't actually know what he's firing with his attacks. They almost look like billiard balls or like marbles or something like that. And he fires the Star Park Star at enemies for his super. Now, this is his losing animation, and this is his winning animation. Next, we have Blue King Frank and Red King Frank. These are 299 gem skins. I don't know if the color variations will cost different or how they will exactly work out. These will only be available for purchase on the Supercell store website, but we do not know when it will be released. There's a chance it won't happen until the next update starting in March. Now, these skins are obviously references to the King in Clash Royale. His attacks are very bomb-like and have this really cool dark effects, and it's his super that summons a bunch of towers powers from Clash Royale, which actually looks really cool. Now, this is his losing animation. It looks like it might not be finished just yet, but this is his winning animation, and it looks is pretty awesome. Surprisingly enough, Shelly's base model is getting an upgrade, and this will cost you nothing. It will be free because everybody has Shelly. Now, her animations and projectiles are the same as before, but she got a little bit more polish on her. Most notably, her hair things can actually come up to a point, and there's a slight pattern on her scarf now. And that is everything coming in the update that I'm able to show you right now. We've got Miko, I don't know how to say his name yet, but we also have Kit and Larry and Laurie that are all going to be shown in future sneak peek videos. So make sure you subscribe for that and for all future Brawl Stars news. We'll see you in the next video.